Hello, everyone. I thought I would talk to you about self education. Now, a lot of people, when they think of education, they think of going to a university or going to school, but that's only one way to get educated. I actually think the best way is self education, especially because there are a lot of people who will go to a university and get a degree, not because they actually care about education, but because they want some kind of job. But after that, they never read a book again. In fact, nearly 50% I read of college graduates never read a book again after they graduate college. So, education is really useless if someone doesn't actually value knowledge. And that's why I think self education is the best way. And it's superior because you can create your own curriculum and you can do it on your own time. So, for example, with me, I read, try to, not, I don't always succeed, but I try to read at least four books a day. So I will read a novel, and then I will read poetry, and then I'm trying to get through the complete works of Shakespeare, and then I will read some kind of nonfiction book, very often either a philosophy book or some kind of history book. And because another reason why self education is so valuable is that you can read the things that interest you. You don't have to take a class, for example, on something that you're not really interested in simply because the university requires it. And that's to me the best way is to learn about things that interest you because now you may be tempted to read about things that you think you ought to know but you're not interested in. Don't do that because ultimately you will fail when it comes to reading. You have to read about things that interest you that you're passionate about, and then maybe through that you'll find yourself becoming interested in things that initially you weren't interested in. But I would recommend following your passions in that area. And also another benefit of self education is that you're going to learn from the best people in those fields. Um, by reading their books, because normally when you're at some kind of universities that you're not being taught by the best people, um, because the best people, frankly, in many cases are dead, or if they're not dead, they're out actually doing work. They're not in a university, and or if they are at a university, it's probably some Ivy League school which you couldn't get into anyway, either because of academic credentials or you simply can't afford it. So the best way to get a first class education is to read books and to read books that you're interested in. Now, I would, of course, now again, I said before that you have to learn about things that you're interested in, but 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 for me, that's philosophy, it's literature, it's history. Now I read more literature than anything else because that's my preferred subject, and obviously reading about literature is very useful to me when it comes to my own writing. But I also like reading about philosophy because I want to know the fundamental basics for why I believe what I believe. Because a lot of people they can't really justify their beliefs through logic. They often appeal to emotion, and I try not to do that as much as possible. So, so if I value philosophy, I also value history because in order to understand where you are now, that you have to understand how people thought then, and it can just be interesting also to read about how people thought and how people lived in different times and in different societies. So self education is incredibly valuable, and I would highly recommend it, especially because again you're free because you're not having to rely on academia to tell you what to think. You can discern from yourself, and you can do it on your own time, and you're not constrained by the philosophy of a specific teacher because the teacher might want you to view a work in a certain light. No, you're constrained to. You are free to read books on your own time and then come to your own conclusions without feeling like you have to adhere to a certain way of thinking in order to get a good grade. So, no, to me, self education, if you're disciplined enough, is the best way to attain knowledge.